I was reaching for my daughter's hand in the grocery store parking lot when I heard my pregnant wife scream. That sound, pure terror mixed with pain, made my blood run cold. Grace was on the ground, her belly exposed, with 4 men circling her like wolves. One of them had his boot raised, ready to stomp. Luna, my 8-year-old, was screaming words that still haunt me. "Help me. Somebody help my mommy." But everyone just watched. Frozen. Nobody moved. And I was still 50 feet away, running, but not fast enough. Hit like, subscribe for more betrayal stories, and comment your city or country. The parking lot felt like it stretched for miles. My legs burned as I sprinted toward them, but time moved in slow motion. The leader, a guy with a snake tattoo crawling up his neck, had Grace's purse in one hand and was reaching for her diamond necklace with the other, the one I'd given her on our 10th anniversary. Grace tried to protect her stomach, curling into a ball, but another thug grabbed her hair and yanked her head back. "Please," she begged, tears streaming down her face. "I'm 7 months pregnant. Just take it. Take everything." "Shut up," Snake Tattoo spat, and I watched him pull back his fist. That's when I heard the sound that changed everything, shattering glass. Ranger, my canine partner from the SEALs, had been in the back seat of my truck. 90 pounds of pure Belgian Malinois, trained to neutralize threats. He'd watched this whole thing through the window, and something in him snapped. The window exploded outward, and Ranger launched through it like a missile. He covered the distance faster than I ever could. Snake Tattoo never saw him coming. 1 second, he was standing over my wife. The next, he was on the ground with Ranger's jaws locked around his throat. Not killing him. Ranger was too well trained for that, but applying just enough pressure to make him understand he was one wrong move away from death. The man's eyes went wide, his whole body went rigid, and a sound came out of him that wasn't quite human. The other 3 thugs scattered like roaches when you turn on a light. I finally reached Grace and dropped to my knees beside her. "Baby, are you okay? Is the baby okay?" My hands were shaking as I helped her sit up. Luna crashed into both of us, sobbing into Grace's shoulder. "I'm okay," Grace whispered, but her hands were trembling as she touched her belly. I think he's okay." Behind us, Ranger held his position. Snake Tattoo wasn't moving, wasn't even breathing hard. He just lay there, staring up at the sky, with Ranger's teeth against his jugular. The dog's eyes found mine, waiting for the command. "Good boy. Hold." Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone must have finally called 911. People started coming out of their frozen states, phones out, recording everything. A woman ran over with a bottle of water. An older man asked if we needed help. "Where were all these people 3 minutes ago?" "Sir, you need to call off your dog." A security guard jogged up, hand on his radio. "He's fine where he is," I said coldly, standing up. I helped Grace to her feet, keeping one arm around her waist. She was shaking so hard I thought she might collapse. The police arrived, 2 squad cars, lights flashing. Officers jumped out, hands on their weapons until they saw what was happening. One of them, a younger guy with a shaved head, recognized me immediately. "Ethan Cross. From the naval base?" I nodded. "That's my canine partner. He's holding the suspect who attacked my pregnant wife." The officer's expression shifted from alert to understanding. "Ranger, right? Hell of a dog." They approached carefully. Ranger didn't move until I gave him the release command. "Out. Heel." Instantly, he let go and trotted to my side, tongue out, tail wagging like he'd just played fetch. Like he hadn't just saved my family's life. The cops cuffed Snake Tattoo and his buddies. They'd caught 2 of them trying to run. As they loaded him into the cruiser, Snake Tattoo locked eyes with me. His neck was bleeding where Ranger had grabbed him, but it was his expression that made my skin crawl. Not fear, not relief. Rage. Pure, cold, calculated rage. He didn't say anything. Didn't need to. His eyes said it all. This isn't over. One of the officers, a woman with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, took our statements. Grace could barely speak. She kept touching her belly, checking for blood, feeling for movement. Luna wouldn't let go of my hand. Her little fingers were ice cold. "We'll need you to come down to the station later for official statements," the officer said, handing me her card. "But you should get your wife to the hospital. Make sure the baby's okay." I nodded, but I couldn't shake the feeling crawling up my spine. Something about the way Snake Tattoo looked at me. The way he'd smiled as they shut the car door. As we drove to the emergency room, Grace beside me with Luna in the back, I kept checking the rearview mirror. Ranger sat alert in the cargo area, his ears up, his eyes scanning. He felt it too. Whatever just happened in that parking lot, it wasn't a random mugging. And the look in that man's eyes told me this was just the beginning. At the hospital, a nurse rushed us back immediately when she heard pregnant and assault. They hooked Grace up to monitors, checking the baby's heartbeat, checking for contractions. I stood there holding her hand, listening to the steady thump, thump, thump of our son's heart. He was okay, for now, but I couldn't stop thinking about Snake Tattoo's face, about the way he'd looked at Luna, about the threat hidden behind his silence. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stepped into the hallway to answer it. "Hello." Breathing. Just breathing on the other end. Then a voice, low and rough. "Your dog made a big mistake, Seal." The line went dead. My blood turned to ice. I stared at my phone, the dial tone ringing in my ears even though the call had ended. "Your dog made a big mistake, Seal." The words echoed in my head like a warning siren. Grace appeared in the doorway of the hospital room, her face pale. "Ethan, what's wrong?" I forced myself to smile, slipping the phone into my pocket. "Nothing. Just checking in with the base." The lie tasted bitter, but I couldn't tell her. Not yet. Not while she was hooked up to monitors with our unborn son's heartbeat filling the room. The doctor came in with good news. No signs of trauma. Baby's vitals were strong, no contractions. Grace could go home tonight. But as we walked out of that hospital, I felt eyes on us. Every shadow seemed darker. Every parked car felt like a threat. Luna held my hand so tight it hurt. She hadn't spoken since we left the parking lot. Just stared ahead with those wide, scared eyes that broke my heart. At home, I locked every door, checked every window twice. Ranger followed me through the house, his tail low, his body tense. He knew something was wrong too. Military dogs have instincts most people don't understand. They can sense danger before it arrives. That night, Grace fell asleep around 9, exhausted from the stress. Luna curled up between us, refusing to go to her own room. I lay there in the dark, listening to them breathe, watching the shadows on the ceiling. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. This time, it was a photo. My house. Taken from across the street. Tonight. My blood turned to ice. I slipped out of bed carefully, grabbed my phone, and headed downstairs. Ranger was already at the front window, growling low in his throat. I pulled back the curtain an inch and scanned the street. Empty. No cars. No movement. Whoever took that photo was gone. I called Cole Bennett, my SEAL team buddy. He answered on the second ring, voice alert despite the hour. "Talk to me. I need eyes on my house. Tonight. Someone's watching us. On my way. No questions." That's what I loved about Cole. 10 years of deployments together teaches you trust. "Give me 20 minutes. While I waited, I pulled up the security footage from the parking lot attack. The police had sent me a copy for my records. I watched it 3 times, studying every detail. The way Snake Tattoo moved. The coordination between the 4 thugs. This wasn't random. They'd targeted Grace specifically. But why? Cole arrived in his black truck, tactical gear in the back. He looked every bit the operator he was, 6'3", built like a linebacker, with eyes that missed nothing. "Fill me in." I showed him the threatening call, the photo, everything. His jaw tightened. "We need to find out who this guy is." Running the Snake Tattoo through databases. "Already did," I said, pulling up my laptop. "Derek Voss. Multiple priors, assault, armed robbery, drug possession. But get this." I clicked to the next page. His brother is Victor Kane. Runs the Southside Skulls. Biggest gang in the city. Cole whistled low. "You didn't just mess with some random thug. You embarrassed his family. Ranger embarrassed him. I corrected. And saved my wife's life doing it. Either way, Victor Kane isn't the forgiving type. Cole pulled up his own files. I've heard about him through channels. Military intelligence flagged his crew last year for possible weapons trafficking. They move serious firepower. AR-15s, explosives, even grenade launchers. My stomach dropped. So Derek goes after my pregnant wife. Ranger stops him, and now his big brother wants revenge. That's the way these guys think. Honor. Reputation. You made them look weak in front of witnesses. That video probably hit social media within an hour. He was right. I pulled up Facebook and searched dog attack parking lot. There it was, 40,000 views. The comments were brutal. That dog is a hero. Those thugs got what they deserved. Navy SEALs family protected. This makes it worse, I muttered. Victor Kane sees this, sees his little brother getting taken down by a dog, sees everyone laughing. He's going to want blood, Cole finished. Question is, when and how? Over the next 3 days, I turned our house into a fortress. Security cameras on every corner. Motion sensors on the lawn. New locks on every door and window. I even installed a panic room in the basement. Reinforced door, separate phone line, emergency supplies. Grace watched me work with worried eyes. Ethan, you're scaring me. It was just a mugging. The police arrested them. Derek made bail yesterday, I told her quietly. And his brother runs the biggest gang in the city. Her hand went to her belly instinctively. What are we going to do? We're going to be smart. Careful. And we're going to trust that I can keep you safe. I pulled her close, feeling her shake against me. I didn't survive 12 years as a SEAL to lose my family to some street thugs. But that night proved me wrong about being safe. I woke to Ranger barking, sharp, aggressive barks that meant threat. I grabbed the Glock from my nightstand and moved to the window. 3 cars were parked across the street. Men standing outside them, faces hidden by hoodies, all staring at my house. One of them raised his phone. The flash went off as he took a picture. Then they got back in their cars and drove away. Message received. We know where you live. We know your family. We can reach you anytime we want. The next morning, Cole ran the license plates. All 3 cars were registered to known members of the Southside Skulls. Victor Kane was making his move, piece by piece, letting me know that I was being hunted. Grace found me in the kitchen at dawn, staring at my coffee. You didn't sleep. Can't. I showed her the security footage from last night. Her face went white. Ethan, we need to leave. Go somewhere safe. Running won't help. They'll just follow us. I took her hands. But I have an idea. Cole and I are going to meet with someone who knows Victor Kane. Get inside information. Figure out what he's planning. Who? I hesitated. Jackson Ford. My old high school friend. He's part of the Skulls now. Grace's eyes widened. You're going to trust a gang member? I'm going to trust the kid I grew up with. The one who saved my life in 10th grade when I got jumped after football practice. Jackson didn't choose this life. It chose him. If anyone can help us, it's him. That afternoon, I met Jackson at a diner on the east side. He looked older than his 32 years, tired eyes, scars on his knuckles, a haunted expression. But when he saw me, something in his face softened. Ethan Cross. Heard about what happened to Grace. Then you know why I'm here. Jackson glanced around nervously. Victor's serious about this, man. Derek's his baby brother. Only family he has left. You humiliated him, and now Victor wants to make an example. Example how? Jackson's voice dropped to a whisper. He's planning something big. I don't have all the details, but I heard him talking about your daughter. About sending a message that nobody disrespects the Skulls and walks away. My blood ran cold. If you hurt Luna, I'm not going to hurt anyone. Jackson cut me off. That's why I'm telling you this. I owe you, Ethan. You got me that job at the garage after high school. Kept me out of trouble for years. Until he trailed off, pain flickering across his face. Until what? Until they killed my sister. Said it was an accident, but I know better. Victor uses people, controls them. And now I'm trapped. I leaned forward. Help me stop him. Help me protect my family. Jackson was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. I'll try. But Ethan, if Victor finds out I'm helping you, I'm dead. I'll keep you safe. Nobody's safe from Victor Kane. As I drove home, Jackson's words haunted me. My phone buzzed, another text from an unknown number. This time it was a photo of Luna at school, playing on the playground. My hands tightened on the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. They'd just crossed a line they couldn't uncross. I pulled Luna out of school that afternoon, walked straight into her classroom, told the teacher it was an emergency, and carried my daughter out. She didn't ask why. The look on my face told her everything she needed to know. Grace met us at the door, her face pale. What happened? I showed her the photo on my phone. Luna, at school, playing on the swings. Someone had been watching our 8-year-old daughter. Grace's hand went to her pregnant belly, her knees buckling. I caught her, guided her to the couch. They were at her school, Ethan, where children are supposed to be safe. I know. I knelt in front of her. But Cole's installing security cameras. Jackson's feeding us information. And I'm not letting Luna out of my sight again. We should go to the police. Victor Kane has cops on his payroll. We report this, he'll know within the hour. I took her hands. Trust me, I can handle this. But even as I said it, doubt crept in. This wasn't Afghanistan. This was home. And the enemy was everywhere. That night, I sat in the living room watching security monitors. Every car, every shadow. Ranger lay at my feet, ears alert. My finger never left my Glock's trigger. At 3 a.m., Grace joined me. You can't do this forever. Watch me. Ethan, you're running yourself into the ground. I'll rest when you're safe. She was quiet. Then, what if we just left? Moved somewhere Victor can't find us. He'd find us. Men like him don't quit. I looked at her. The only way to end this is to end him. Legally. Get him arrested where he can't touch us. 2 days of living like prisoners passed. New locks. Motion sensors. Security cameras on every corner. I even built a panic room in the basement with reinforced doors and emergency supplies. Then Grace went into labor. We were eating breakfast when she doubled over, gasping. Water gushed onto the kitchen floor. Ethan, the baby, 7 months pregnant, was too early. I grabbed my keys, helped her to the car. Luna's face went white with fear. Is mommy dying? No, baby. Your brother just wants to meet us early. At the hospital, they rushed Grace into emergency surgery. I stood outside the operating room, helpless. Luna clung to my leg, crying. Daddy, I'm scared. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Cole arrived fast, bringing coffee and Luna's stuffed bear. Any news? They're operating now. He scanned the hallway with trained eyes. I've got 2 men outside. Nobody gets in. Luna tugged my sleeve. Daddy, those men look scary. I followed her gaze. 3 men in hospital scrubs near the vending machines. Something felt wrong. Too tense. Too aware. Cole saw them too. His hand moved to his concealed weapon. Stay with Luna. He approached casually. The 3 men noticed, exchanged glances, then walked away. Cole followed them to the stairwell, returned 5 minutes later. They're gone. But Ethan, those weren't hospital staff. Wrong scrubs. No badges. And one had a skull's tattoo. My blood turned cold. They're here. Victor must have known Grace would need medical care. How could he know? Cole's expression darkened. Either he's watching closer than we thought, or someone's feeding him information. My phone buzzed. Jackson, meet me parking garage level 3. 5 minutes. Alone. I showed Cole. Could be a trap. Or intel we need. I looked at Luna, then at the operating room doors. Stay with them. Protect my family. Ethan, that's an order. I took the elevator down, Glock concealed under my jacket. Ranger stayed with Cole. My family needed him more. The parking garage was silent. Too silent. Every shadow could hide a threat. Jackson stepped out from behind a van, hands raised. Easy. I'm alone. Talk. Victor's moving tonight. 6 guys ready to grab Luna while you're distracted here. His hands shook. I'm telling you because I'm done being part of something evil. Because my sister died and I was too weak to stop it. Because you're the only friend who ever gave a damn about me. Why should I trust you? Because there's more. He stepped closer. One of Victor's guys in this hospital isn't just watching. He's waiting for your baby. They're going to take your newborn son. Hold him for ransom. Everything went red. Who? Marcus Webb. Claims he's FBI tracking Victor. But he's dirty. Been on Victor's payroll 3 years. Agent Marcus Webb. The man we'd trusted. I ran back to the elevator, heart pounding. Cole met me at the maternity floor. Where's Luna? With the nurses. What? Webb is dirty. He works for Victor. They're taking Luna and the baby. We turned toward the nurses' station. Luna wasn't there. A nurse looked up. Your daughter? Agent Webb took her to the cafeteria for food. Said you approved. My world collapsed. They'd taken her. Right under our noses. While I was downstairs. While Grace was in surgery giving birth. Cole was already on his radio. Locked down the building. Now. 8-year-old girl, blonde hair, pink jacket. Armed suspect claiming to be FBI. I ran toward the cafeteria, Glock drawn. Hospital staff screamed, diving out of my way. I didn't care. My daughter was gone. The cafeteria was empty except for kitchen staff. No Luna. No Webb. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video. Luna, crying, hands zip-tied. Behind her stood a man in an FBI jacket. Marcus Webb. His voice came through cold. You embarrassed the wrong family, Seal. Now you pay the price. The video cut to black. The video played on a loop in my mind. Luna's terrified face. Her hands zip-tied. Marcus Webb's cold voice. You embarrassed the wrong family, Seal. Cole grabbed my shoulder as I stared at my phone. We'll find her. I'm calling in the team. No time. I was already moving toward the elevator. They're not far. Webb couldn't have gotten out of the building that fast with security locking down. Where are you going? Basement. Service tunnels. It's how they're moving her. I'd studied this hospital when Grace first got pregnant, memorizing every exit and entry point. Old military habit. Always know your escape routes. Cole followed, radio in hand. All units, suspect heading to basement level. Armed and dangerous. Hostage is 8-year-old female. We took the stairs 3 at a time, Ranger leading the way. His nose was down, tracking. He'd spent enough time with Luna to know her scent. The basement was a maze of maintenance corridors, laundry rooms, and old storage areas. Perfect for a kidnapping. Ranger stopped at a door marked, authorized personnel only. He growled low, his body tense. They were close. I kicked the door open, weapon raised. Empty hallway, but fresh footprints in the dust. Small ones, Luna's shoes, and larger boot prints beside them. This way. I followed the trail, my heart hammering. Every second counted. Every corner could be an ambush. The hallway opened into a loading dock. 3 black SUVs were parked with engines running. And there, being dragged toward the middle vehicle, was Luna. Daddy, she screamed when she saw me. Marcus Webb spun, his FBI badge still clipped to his belt. The irony wasn't lost on me. He was using federal credentials to kidnap children for a gang leader. He pulled Luna in front of him as a shield, gun pressed to her head. Drop it, Cross. Or I paint this dock with your daughter's brains. I froze, weapon still raised. Cole flanked right, trying to get an angle. But Webb was smart, keeping Luna between us. You killed 4 of Victor's men in Kandahar, Webb said, his voice eerily calm. 2019. Black Ops mission that never made the news. Victor's cousin was one of them. Worked as a contractor, secretly fed intel to the Taliban. You and your SEAL team executed him without trial. My blood went cold. That mission was classified. How do you? Victor knows everything. He's been planning this for 6 years. Waiting. Watching. Building his empire so when the time came, he could destroy you properly. Webb smiled. Your wife in the parking lot. That wasn't random. Derek volunteered to get caught. To lure you out. To start the fear. This is about revenge for a terrorist collaborator? This is about family. Something you're about to lose. Webb backed toward the SUV, dragging Luna with him. Victor wants you to suffer first. Watch your world collapse. Then he'll kill you slow. Ranger snarled, ready to attack. But I couldn't risk it. Not with a gun to Luna's head. Let her go. Take me instead. Webb laughed. You think you have bargaining power? Your wife just gave birth upstairs. Premature baby in the NICU. How long do you think it takes for someone to walk in that room? And a gunshot cracked through the loading dock. Webb stumbled, his grip on Luna loosening. She twisted free, running toward me. I caught her, pulling her behind me as Webb collapsed. Blood spread across his FBI jacket from a shoulder wound. Jackson Ford stepped out from behind a concrete pillar, smoking gun in hand. Told you I was done with Victor's world. Cole secured Webb while I held Luna. She was shaking, crying into my chest. I was so scared, Daddy. I know, baby. I know. But you're safe now. Not yet, she isn't, Jackson said urgently. Webb was telling the truth. Victor has someone in the NICU right now. We need to move. I handed Luna to Cole. Get her somewhere safe. Ranger stays with her. Ethan, you can't. That's my son up there. My wife. I was already running back toward the stairwell. Nobody touches my family. Jackson followed. I can get you past Victor's guys. They don't know I've flipped yet. We took the elevator to the maternity floor, my mind racing. Grace had just given birth. Our son, Owen, was fighting for his life in an incubator. And somewhere on this floor, a killer was waiting. The NICU was quiet. Too quiet. Nurses moved between incubators, checking monitors. Everything looked normal. But my instincts screamed danger. There, Jackson whispered, pointing to a doctor in scrubs standing near Owen's incubator. That's not a doctor. That's Tommy Slice Martinez, Victor's top enforcer. I moved fast, closing the distance before Slice could react. I grabbed him by the throat, slammed him against the wall. Touch my son, and I'll make you beg for death. Slice smiled, blood on his teeth. Too late, Seal. The baby's already dosed. Horror flooded through me. What did you give him? Insulin. Enough to crash his blood sugar in about 10 minutes. By the time they figure it out. He shrugged. Tragic accident. Premature babies die all the time. I hit him. Hard. His head snapped back, but he kept laughing. Jackson pulled me off. The nurses, we need to tell them now. I ran to Owen's incubator where a nurse was checking vitals. My son was injected with insulin. You need to test his blood sugar immediately. The nurse's eyes widened. What? Who would just do it? I watched through the clear plastic as my tiny son struggled to breathe, his little chest rising and falling too fast. 1 day old and already fighting for his life because of my past. The nurse pricked his heel, ran the test. Her face went pale. His glucose is dropping fast. We need dextrose now. The NICU exploded into controlled chaos. Doctors and nurses swarmed Owen's incubator, starting 4 lines, pushing medications. I stood frozen, helpless, watching my newborn son fight a battle I couldn't fight for him. Grace appeared beside me in a wheelchair, still recovering from surgery. Her face was streaked with tears. What happened? They said Luna was kidnapped. They said Luna's safe. Webb's in custody. But Victor's man poisoned Owen. Her hand flew to her mouth. No. No, please God, no. We watched together as the medical team worked. Minutes felt like hours. Owen's monitors beeped frantically, then slowly, agonizingly, began to stabilize. A doctor approached, exhaustion on his face. He's going to be okay. We caught it in time. Another 5 minutes. He didn't finish the sentence. Grace collapsed against me, sobbing. Relief and terror mixed into something I couldn't name. Jackson stood nearby, guilt written across his face. I'm sorry. I should have warned you sooner. Should have done more. You saved both my kids today, I said quietly. That's enough. But even as I said it, I knew this wasn't over. Victor Kane was still out there. Still planning. Still hunting. And now it was personal for both of us. 3 days passed in the hospital. 3 days of watching Owen fight in his incubator while Luna refused to leave my side and Grace recovered from surgery. 3 days of waiting for Victor Kane to make his next move. Cole posted guards outside our room. Jackson disappeared into protective custody. Marcus Webb sat in a federal holding cell, singing like a canary about Victor's operation. But none of it felt like enough. Because Victor was still out there. Still breathing. Still planning. On the fourth morning, a real FBI agent arrived. Special Agent Sarah Chun from the Organized Crime Division. She was young, sharp-eyed, with a no-nonsense attitude that reminded me of my commanding officer in the SEALs. "Mr. Cross, we have a problem," she said, closing the door behind her. Marcus Webb gave us locations for 3 of Victor Kane's safe houses. We raided them 2 hours ago. And empty. All of them. Wiped clean. No evidence. No weapons. No gang members. Her jaw tightened. Victor knew we were coming. My blood went cold. Webb has a partner. Someone else feeding Victor information. That's our assessment. Agent Chin pulled out a tablet, showing me surveillance photos. We've been monitoring Victor's known associates. Yesterday, this man met with him at a diner downtown. I stared at the photo. My stomach dropped. The man sitting across from Victor Kane, shaking his hand, was Cole Bennett. My best friend. My SEAL brother. The man I'd trusted with my family's life. No. I shook my head. That's impossible. Cole's been with me for 12 years. He saved my life in Kandahar. He has a younger sister with stage 4 cancer. Agent Chin interrupted quietly. Medical bills over $300,000. Insurance won't cover experimental treatment. And 3 weeks ago, Victor Kane made a very generous donation to her care fund. The room spun. You're saying Victor bought him. I'm saying Cole Bennett has motive. And means. And he's had access to every piece of information about your family for the past week. She paused. Where is he right now? I checked my phone. Cole had texted an hour ago. Taking Luna to cafeteria for breakfast. Ranger with us. Back soon. Terror shot through me like lightning. He's got my daughter. Agent Chun was already on her radio. All units. Possible kidnapping in progress. Suspect is Cole Bennett, former Navy SEAL, armed and dangerous. Hostage is 8-year-old Luna Cross. Move now. I ran. Down the hallway, past nurses and doctors, taking stairs 4 at a time. Grace's voice followed me, screaming my name, but I couldn't stop. Luna was with a traitor. With a man who'd sold us out for money. The cafeteria was half full with morning visitors. I scanned every face, every table. No Luna. No Cole. No Ranger. A kitchen worker approached nervously. You looking for the little blonde girl? The big guy took her out the side exit about 5 minutes ago. Said something about getting fresh air. The side exit led to the parking garage. The same garage where Jackson had warned me about Webb. I burst through the doors, weapon drawn, not caring who saw. Cole's truck was on level 2, engine running. And there, standing beside it with Luna's hand in his, was my best friend. Cole. I raised my Glock, hands steady despite the rage coursing through me. Let her go. He turned slowly. Luna's eyes were wide with confusion. Daddy? What's happening? It's okay, baby. Just stay very still. I kept the gun trained on Cole's chest. I know about Victor. I know what he paid you. Something flickered across Cole's face. Guilt, pain, regret. Ethan, listen to me. You sold us out. My pregnant wife. My newborn son. You let them poison Owen. My finger tightened on the trigger. Give me one reason not to end you right here. Because I'm not working for Victor. Cole's voice was calm, steady. I'm working for the DEA. I froze. What? 3 months ago, the DEA approached me. They knew about my sister's cancer. Knew I was vulnerable. They asked me to infiltrate Victor's organization. Pretend to be compromised. Feed him false information while gathering evidence. He slowly pulled out a badge from his jacket. Real DEA credentials. Everything I've done has been to protect your family while building a case against Victor. You're lying. Call Agent Chun. She'll confirm. I'm UC 47 in their files. Deep cover operative. He gestured to Luna. Why would I bring her to a public parking garage in broad daylight if I was kidnapping her? Why not take her somewhere remote? My mind raced. It made sense. Cole had always been smart. Strategic. But the photo, I saw you meeting with Victor yesterday. wearing a wire. The DEA has the whole conversation. Victor thinks I'm his inside man. He told me his next move. Cole's eyes hardened. He's planning to hit you tonight at your house. 6 shooters. Full assault. He wants to kill you in front of Grace and the kids. Make an example. Agent Chun emerged from the stairwell, weapon drawn. Stand down, cross. He's telling the truth. Cole Bennett is one of ours. Relief and fury battled inside me. I lowered my weapon. You couldn't tell me? Deep cover means nobody knows. Not even allies. Cole released Luna, who ran to me. I picked her up, holding her tight. If I'd told you, your reaction would have tipped off Victor. He watches everything, Ethan. Every expression. Every phone call. So what now? Now we use his plan against him. Cole pulled up a blueprint on his phone. Victor thinks he's hitting your house tonight at 8 p.m. But we'll be ready. DEA tactical team, FBI assault unit, and enough firepower to end the South Side skulls permanently. Agent Chin nodded. We evacuate your family to a safe location. Use the house as bait. When Victor shows up with his crew, we take them all down. What about the other gang members? His network. We've got warrants ready to execute simultaneously across the city. 52 targets. Once Victor is in custody, we dismantle everything. She looked at me seriously. But we need you to play your part. Act normal. Go home tonight like nothing's wrong. If Victor suspects a trap, he'll disappear again. I looked down at Luna, her small face pressed against my shoulder. At Owen fighting in his incubator upstairs. At Grace recovering from surgery. My family had been through hell because of my past. Because I'd killed Victor's cousin 6 years ago in a war zone half a world away. I'll do it, I said quietly. But I want to be there when you take him down. Cole smiled grimly. Wouldn't have it any other way, brother. That afternoon, we moved Grace and Owen to a secure federal facility under guard. Luna went with them, crying because she didn't understand why Daddy couldn't come. I promised her I'd see her tomorrow. Promised her this nightmare would finally be over. Jackson visited one last time before disappearing into witness protection. Thank you for believing I could be better than what Victor made me. You saved my kids. That's all that matters. As the sun set, I returned to my empty house with Ranger. The DEA had wired every room with cameras and microphones. Snipers positioned on neighboring roofs. Tactical teams hidden in vans down the street. But to anyone watching, it looked like a normal evening. I sat in my living room, lights on, TV playing quietly. Ranger lay at my feet, tense and alert. He knew something was coming. At 7:55, my phone buzzed. Cole, movement on the south side. 6 vehicles. Victor's in the lead car. This is it. I checked my Glock one last time. Loaded. Safety off. Ready. At 8 p.m. exactly, my front door exploded inward. The door exploded inward. 6 men stormed through, but they weren't gang members. They were FBI. Behind them walked Victor Kane in an expensive suit, looking more like a businessman than a killer. Where is he? Victor's voice was cold. Then the lights blazed. 20 red laser sights painted Victor and his men. Windows shattered as DA teams rappelled through. The lawn filled with federal agents. FBI, drop your weapons. Within seconds, 5 shooters were face down, hands zip-tied. Only Victor remained standing, calm and composed. I stepped from the kitchen. It's over. 52 arrests across the city. Your organization is finished. Victor smiled. You think this ends anything? I have judges, senators, CEOs in my pocket. I'll be free by morning. Agent Chin cuffed him. Victor Kane, you're under arrest for conspiracy to murder, kidnapping, drug trafficking. Life without parole. As they dragged him to the van, Victor locked eyes with me. You killed my cousin in Kandahar. Did you know he had a wife? 3 kids? You executed him without trial. He was feeding intel to the Taliban. He was a peace negotiator, working between tribal leaders and coalition forces. But your commanding officer wanted a terrorist scalp. Victor's smile turned bitter. Check the files, Cross. You murdered an innocent man. They shoved him into the van, but his words echoed in my mind. Cole gripped my shoulder. Don't let him manipulate you. You followed orders. 3 days later, Grace called at dawn. Turn on the news. Victor Kane had been released on bail. A federal judge ruled the evidence circumstantial. Bail was set at $10 million. Someone posted it within an hour. How? Grace's voice shook. They promised. He owns people in high places. We're leaving the state. Now. Grace stared at her phone, face white. There's something I need to tell you first. She showed me an old photo, 2 young girls in front of a house. One was Grace. The other looked familiar. That's my sister. Isabel. The name hit like a punch. Isabel Kane. Victor's wife. And you never told me? I cut ties with her 15 years ago when she married him. My parents disowned her. We pretended she didn't exist. Tears streamed down her face. I thought if I ignored it, it wouldn't matter. That's why he targeted you. This is family. Betrayal burned in my chest. You let me walk into this blind. My phone rang. Unknown number. A woman's voice, crying. Ethan? It's Isabel. I need to meet you. Alone. It's about Luna. If you touch my daughter, I'm trying to help. Victor's planning something worse. Meet me at the old pier on Market Street. Noon. Come alone. The line went dead. Cole shook his head. It's a trap. Maybe. But what if it's not? I looked at Grace. Would she betray you? I don't know. Victor changes people. I'm coming with you, Grace said. She's my sister. At noon, we stood on the abandoned pier. Cole and DEA waited nearby, hidden. Isabel appeared from behind a shipping container. Her face was bruised, one eye swollen shut, moving carefully like someone in pain. Grace, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Grace stepped forward. What happened? Victor happened. When he made bail, he blamed me for the arrest. She touched her bruised face. He's not the man I married. Or maybe he always was. Why call us? I asked, scanning for threats. Victor's planning to bomb the federal courthouse tomorrow during his hearing. Kill everyone inside, judges, prosecutors, and disappear. Plane waiting to Mexico, then South America. She pulled out a flash drive. This is everything. Flight plans, bank accounts, safe houses, everything to stop him. Grace reached for it, but I stopped her. Why give us this? Isabel's eyes filled with tears. Because I have a daughter too. She's 6. Victor doesn't know. I gave her up before we married. But if he finds out. She looked at Grace. I saw what he did to Luna. What he almost did to your baby. I won't let him hurt more children. Grace took the flash drive. Come with us. Witness protection. No. I deserve whatever's coming. But please, save your family. She disappeared into the warehouses. Cole approached with Agent Chun. We recorded everything. If the intel's good, we can move tonight. I looked at Grace, saw the pain in her eyes. Your sister just saved us. Or damned us, Grace whispered. With Victor, you never know. The flash drive contained everything. Flight manifests, bank routing numbers, safe house addresses across 3 countries, and detailed blueprints of the federal courthouse, with Victor's planned bomb locations marked in red. Agent Chin spread the files across the conference table at FBI headquarters. He's targeting the underground parking garage. C, for explosives wired to collapse the entire East Wing during his preliminary hearing. Casualties estimated at 200 people. My stomach turned. When? Tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. She looked at Cole and me. We're evacuating the courthouse under the guise of a gas leak. Moving Victor's hearing to a secure facility. But we need to catch him in the act, with the explosives. He'll have someone else plant them, Cole said. Victor's too smart to get his hands dirty. Which is why we're letting the planting happen. Under surveillance. Then we move when Victor arrives to trigger the detonation. Agent Chin's expression hardened. But there's a complication. We think Isabel might be forced to be the trigger person. Grace, who'd been silent until now, stood abruptly. No. She gave you the intel. She's trying to help. Or Victor found out she talked to us, and is using her as a suicide bomber. Insurance that if she betrayed him, she dies too. Agent Chin showed us a surveillance photo from that morning. Isabel walking into a storage unit, hands shaking, face pale with terror. This was taken 3 hours ago. That unit is registered to one of Victor's shell companies. We have to get her out, Grace insisted. We can't tip our hand. If Victor knows we're onto him, then he kills more people. I finished. But Grace is right. Isabel gave us everything. We can't just let her die. Agent Chin considered this. What are you proposing? A parallel operation. While you're setting up at the courthouse, Grace and I extract Isabel. Get her somewhere safe before Victor can use her. I looked at Cole. You coordinate the courthouse takedown. We'll handle the sister. Cole nodded. You'll need backup. Jackson, he knows Victor's people, can get us in and out without raising alarms. Jackson's in witness protection. Pulling him out puts him at risk. Everything we're doing puts people at risk. I stood. But if we don't stop Victor tomorrow, he'll disappear. And we'll spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders. 6 hours later, Jackson met us at a safe house on the edge of the city. He looked thinner, haunted, but his eyes were clear. Heard you needed a guy who knows Victor's operation. Isabel's being held at a storage facility. We think Victor's going to force her to plant the explosives. I showed him the address. Can you get us in? Jackson studied the location. Yeah, but it'll be guarded. Victor's got at least 4 guys on rotation there. They're expecting trouble after the arrests. How do we play it? Fast and quiet. In and out before they can radio for help. He pulled out a hand-drawn map. There's a back entrance through the maintenance corridor. No cameras. 1 guard. Usually smoking instead of watching his post. Grace checked her weapon. A compact 9mm she'd learned to shoot years ago, but never thought she'd need. When 4 a.m. Right before shift change. They'll be tired, distracted. Jackson looked at Grace seriously. Your sister might not want to come. Victor's good at breaking people. Making them believe there's no escape. Then we make her believe, Grace said firmly. At 3:45 a.m., we approached the storage facility through the industrial district. Everything was dark except for security lights casting long shadows. Jackson led us through a gap in the fence to the maintenance corridor he'd mentioned. 1 guard, just as he'd said, smoking a cigarette, scrolling through his phone. Cole would have taken him down silently, but he was at the courthouse coordinating the main operation. I moved fast, locked him in a chokehold until he passed out. Grace zip-tied his hands. Unit 47, Jackson whispered, leading us through rows of storage units. Victor keeps his weapons and explosives there. If Isabel's being held anywhere, it's there. The unit was secured with 2 heavy padlocks. Jackson picked them in under a minute, skills from his time in the skulls. The door rolled up with a metallic screech that sounded deafening in the silence. Inside, Isabel sat on the concrete floor, surrounded by crates of C4 explosives. Her wrists were zip-tied to a pipe. When she saw us, fear flashed across her face. No, you shouldn't be here. Victor has cameras. We disabled them. Jackson said quickly, cutting her restraints. We're getting you out. You don't understand. He has my daughter. The one I gave up for adoption. He found her. If I don't do what he says, he'll kill her. Grace knelt beside her sister. Where is she? Safe house on Maple Street. Number 2847. Victor's got 2 men watching her. Isabel's voice broke. She's 6 years old. She doesn't even know I'm her mother. And now she's going to die because of me. I pulled out my phone, texted Agent Chin the address. FBI will extract her. Right now? But we need to move before. Footsteps outside. Multiple people running. Trap, Jackson hissed. He knew we'd come for her. The storage unit door slammed down, locking us inside. Lights blazed on. And on a small monitor mounted to the wall, Victor Kane's face appeared via video feed. Hello, Ethan. I was wondering when you'd show up to play hero. His smile was cold. You're sitting in a room with enough C4 to level this entire block. And I have the detonator right here in my hand. Grace grabbed Isabel. You used your own wife as bait? I used a traitor as bait. There's a difference. Victor's expression didn't change. Here's how this works. You have 10 minutes before the explosives detonate. In that time, you can try to disarm them. but they're rigged with motion sensors. Move the wrong crate, and boom. Or you can sit there and accept your fate. The FBI knows about the courthouse, I said. Your plan's already failed. Has it? Or did Isabel feed you exactly what I wanted you to know? Victor leaned closer to the camera. While the FBI wastes resources protecting an empty courthouse, my real target is being hit right now. The federal detention center where they're holding my men. 50 Southside skulls about to walk free, and 100 witnesses about to disappear. The screen went black. Jackson was already examining the explosives. He's not bluffing. These are all wired together. Military-grade setup. I can't disarm this. I called Agent Shun. Victor's real target is the detention center. Move now. Already on it. We intercepted chatter 5 minutes ago. Her voice was tense. But Ethan, we can't get to you in time. Bomb squad needs 20 minutes minimum. We don't have 20 minutes. Grace looked at me, then at Isabel. There has to be a way. And that's when I noticed something in the corner. A ventilation shaft. Big enough for one person. Maybe two if they move fast. Jackson, can you fit through that? He looked up. Barely. Why? Because someone needs to get out and manually cut the power. No power means the detonator won't work. I pulled the grate off. Go. Now. Jackson squeezed through the ventilation shaft, disappearing into darkness. Grace, Isabel, and I were left in the storage unit, surrounded by enough explosives to erase us from existence. 7 minutes left. There has to be another way, Grace said, examining the crates. Some kind of override. Isabel shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Victor designed this himself. He showed me. Said if I ever betrayed him, this is how I'd die, knowing I killed people I loved. I pulled out my phone, fingers flying across the screen. Agent Shun, what's the status at the detention center? Under control. SWAT team stopped Victor's crew before they breached the gate. 12 arrests, including Derek Voss. Her voice was strained. But Ethan, we still can't reach you in time. Bomb squad is stuck in traffic. What about Victor? Where is he? Unknown. He wasn't with the attack team, which meant he was somewhere safe, watching, waiting to push the button that would kill us all. 5 minutes. Jackson's voice crackled through my phone. I found the power junction. But Ethan, it's locked in a cage. I need bolt cutters. How long? If I run to the truck and back? 3 minutes. Maybe 4. We didn't have 4 minutes. Grace grabbed my arm. The guard outside. The one you knocked out. He had tools on his belt. I ran to the storage unit door, pounding on it. Hey, anyone out there? We need help. Silence. Then footsteps. Multiple sets. The door began to roll up, and Victor Kane stood there with 3 armed men, all pointing weapons at us. Surprised? Victor smiled. Did you really think I'd trust a remote detonator? I prefer to watch my enemies die in person. Behind him, the guard I'd knocked out lay motionless. Permanently. You killed your own man, I said. He failed at his job. But don't worry, you'll be joining him shortly. Victor checked his watch. 3 minutes. Just enough time for some final words. Isabel stepped forward. Victor, please. You loved me once. I loved a version of you that doesn't exist. The woman who stood by me. Not the traitor who sold me out to the FBI. His expression was ice. Your daughter, by the way, she's safe. I lied about having her. Just needed you compliant enough to lure Ethan here. Relief and horror mixed on Isabel's face. So what now? I asked, calculating angles. 3 armed men, Victor in the back. If I moved fast enough, maybe I could. Now you watch everyone you love die because of your choices in Kandahar. Victor's voice hardened. My cousin wasn't a terrorist. He was a translator trying to build peace between our forces and local tribes. But your commanding officer, Colonel Bradley Harper, wanted a promotion. Needed a high-value target to justify his operation budget. So he fabricated evidence and sent your team to execute an innocent man. You're lying. Am I? Victor pulled out a tablet, showed me declassified files. Documents with my commanding officer's signature. Intelligence reports marked unverified. and photos of Victor's cousin with tribal leaders and American diplomats. My blood went cold. No, we had solid intel. He was innocent, and you killed him in front of his 8-year-old son. Victor's mask slipped, showing raw pain underneath. That boy watched you put a bullet in his father's head. Watched American soldiers, heroes he'd been taught, murder his dad for trying to make peace. The room spun. 6 years ago, the mission in Kandahar. The target had begged, said we had it wrong, but orders were orders. I'd pulled the trigger without hesitation. Because that's what SEALs do. We trust our command. We execute the mission. I'm sorry, I whispered. I didn't know. Sorry doesn't bring him back. Victor raised the detonator. 2 minutes. Say goodbye to your family. Cross. Then two things happened simultaneously. The lights went out. Jackson had cut the power. And Ranger came crashing through the storage unit side wall, having followed my scent from the safe house. 90 pounds of trained fury launching straight at Victor's throat. Victor's men opened fire in the darkness. Muzzle flashes lit up the storage unit like lightning. I grabbed Grace and Isabel, pulled them behind a crate. Bullets ricocheted off metal, sparked against concrete. Ranger had Victor on the ground, jaws locked on his wrist. The detonator flew across the floor. I dove for it, fingers closing around cold metal. One of Victor's men spotted me, raised his weapon. Cole Bennett appeared in the doorway, weapon raised. FBI. Drop it. 2 shots. Both guards went down. The third ran, Cole chasing after him. I had the detonator. 1 button. Red and glowing with battery backup. Victor's failsafe. Ranger released Victor, who lay gasping, his wrist bleeding. I pressed my gun to his forehead. How do I disarm this? You don't. Battery backup means the power cut delayed it, not stopped it. Victor smiled through bloody teeth. 1 minute. Your choice, cross. Kill me and die trying to figure out the code. Or run, save yourself, and live with another innocent death on your conscience. Grace pulled at my arm. Ethan, we have to go. But I couldn't move. Couldn't leave. Because if these explosives detonated, the blast radius would hit 3 neighboring buildings. Apartments. Families. Children. Just like Victor's cousin's children, who watched their father die. What's the code? I pressed the gun harder. 6 digits. You'll never guess it in time. 30 seconds. Isabel suddenly lunged forward, grabbing the detonator from my hand. It's his son's birthday. August 14th, 2016. The day after his father died. Her fingers flew across the keypad. August 14th, 16. The detonator screen flashed green. Disarmed. Victor's face went white. How did you? I knew your cousin. Before you and I met. He showed me photos of his son. Isabel dropped the detonator. I've carried that guilt for 6 years. Knowing I married the man planning revenge for a death I couldn't prevent. FBI and DEA teams swarmed the storage unit. Agent Chin cuffed Victor while Cole secured the explosives. Jackson emerged from the maintenance corridor, bolt cutters in hand. 3 minutes too late, but grinning anyway. Told you I'd cut the power. Grace collapsed against me, shaking. Is it over? Please tell me it's over. I looked at Victor being dragged away, his empire dismantled, his revenge failed. At Isabel, who'd saved us all despite everything. At Ranger, panting happily like he'd just played fetch instead of saving our lives. Yeah, I said quietly. It's over. But even as I said it, I knew the truth. Victor's words had planted something in me that wouldn't die. Questions about Kandahar. About my commanding officer. About whether I was the hero or the villain in someone else's story. Some wars never really end. 3 weeks later, I sat in a federal courtroom watching Victor Kane stand trial. The room was packed. FBI agents, DEA officials, prosecutors, and dozens of reporters. Agent Chin sat beside me, a thick folder of evidence on her lap. How's your family? She asked quietly. Healing. Grace and Isabel are talking again. Slowly. Luna still has nightmares, but the therapist says she's making progress. I paused. Owen's thriving. Doctors say there's no lasting damage from the insulin poisoning. And you? I didn't answer, because the truth was complicated. Victor's words about Kandahar had burrowed into my mind, festering. I'd requested the classified files from that mission. They'd confirmed what Victor said. My commanding officer had fabricated intelligence to justify the kill order. The man I'd executed wasn't a terrorist. He was a translator trying to broker peace. Mr. Cross. The prosecutor approached. You're up next. Ready to testify? I nodded, standing. Walking to the witness stand felt like moving through water. Every eye in the courtroom tracked me, including Victor's. He sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, face expressionless. The prosecutor began questioning me about the parking lot attack, the kidnapping attempts, the storage unit bomb plot. I answered mechanically, stating facts. But my mind was elsewhere, on that night in Kandahar 6 years ago, on the moment I'd pulled the trigger. Mr. Cross, did the defendant, Victor Kane, explicitly threaten to kill your family? Yes. And did he attempt to carry out those threats? Yes. Victor's lawyer stood for cross-examination. He was expensive, tailored suit, silver hair, practiced smile. Mr. Cross, you're a Navy SEAL. Is that correct? Former SEAL. You've killed people in the line of duty? Yes. How many? The prosecutor objected, but the judge allowed it. I met Victor's eyes. 14 confirmed, including my client's cousin in Kandahar, Afghanistan. Correct. The courtroom went silent. Yes. A man who turned out to be innocent. A translator working for peace, not a terrorist. The lawyer's voice rose. My client's entire vendetta against you stems from your murder of an innocent civilian. Doesn't that make you the aggressor in this situation? Objection. The prosecutor was on his feet. But the damage was done. The jury looked at me differently now. Not as a victim. As a killer who'd sparked a cycle of revenge. After 3 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for 6 hours. They found Victor Kane guilty on 42 counts: attempted murder, kidnapping, drug trafficking, weapons charges, conspiracy to commit terrorism. The judge sentenced him to 45 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. Derek Voss got 20 years. Marcus Webb, the corrupt FBI agent, got 30. Jackson Ford received immunity for his cooperation and disappeared into witness protection. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I pushed through them to where Grace waited with Luna and Owen. Ranger walked beside me, his service vest keeping the crowd at bay. Is it over? Luna asked, holding her mother's hand. Yeah, baby. It's over. But Cole pulled me aside before we reached the car. There's something you need to see. He handed me a sealed envelope. It arrived at FBI headquarters this morning. Addressed to you. From Isabel. I opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter and a photograph. Ethan, I'm writing this from a women's shelter 3 states away. The FBI helped me disappear after I testified. I can never thank you enough for saving my life and helping me find the courage to leave Victor's world. But there's something you should know. Something Victor never told you because he wanted you to suffer with guilt. The photo shows Victor's cousin, the man you killed in Kandahar, with known Taliban commanders. It was taken 2 weeks before his death. I found it hidden in Victor's safe after his arrest. Your commanding officer was right. Victor's cousin was working with the Taliban. But he was also trying to play both sides, feeding information to terrorists while pretending to broker peace with American forces. Victor knew this, but he lied to you because the truth wouldn't serve his revenge. You were a soldier following orders to eliminate a legitimate threat. You are not a murderer. You are a hero who protected countless lives. I hope this brings you peace. Isabel, I stared at the photograph. Clear evidence of Victor's cousin meeting with Taliban leadership, weapons visible, plans being discussed. My hands shook. She risked everything to get this to you, Cole said quietly. Had to break into Victor's property before the FBI seized it. Wanted you to know the truth. The weight I'd carried for 3 weeks lifted. Not completely. I'd still taken a life, and that never got easier. But I hadn't murdered an innocent man. The mission had been legitimate. My actions had saved American soldiers. Grace saw my face and knew something had changed. What is it? Closure, I said simply. 6 months passed. Life slowly returned to normal. Luna went back to school with a trauma-trained service dog, a younger canine that Ranger helped train. Owen grew into a healthy, happy baby. Grace and Isabel talked weekly, rebuilding their broken relationship. Ranger retired from active duty and became a full-time family dog, though he still patrolled our house every night, protective as ever. I left the Navy officially and started a security consulting business with Cole. We specialized in protecting families targeted by organized crime. Jackson called occasionally from witness protection, checking in, making sure we were okay. Victor Kane sat in maximum security federal prison, his empire dismantled, his name a cautionary tale. And me? I learned that justice isn't always clean. That revenge is a poison that destroys everyone it touches. That family, blood or chosen, is worth fighting for. Luna asked me once if I was scared during everything that happened. I told her the truth, every single day. But being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going anyway. She's writing a story about it for school now. Calls it The Dog Who Saved My Family. Her teacher says it's the best thing she's ever read from an 8-year-old. Sometimes I still wake up at night, heart pounding, reaching for a weapon that isn't there. Grace holds me until the panic passes. Reminds me we're safe, that the nightmare is over. And most days, I believe her. 1 year later, I stood in my backyard watching Luna play with Ranger. She was laughing, really laughing, for the first time since the attack. Owen toddled across the grass, chasing butterflies with chubby hands. Grace stood beside me, her hand in mine. "Do you ever think about it?" she asked softly. "Everything that happened. Every day." I squeezed her hand, but not with fear anymore. With gratitude. Gratitude that we survived, that our family is stronger, that Luna learned she's braver than she ever knew. I turned to face her. Victor wanted to destroy us. Instead, he showed us what we're capable of when we fight for the people we love. Grace smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. Isabel called yesterday. She's enrolled in college, studying social work. Wants to help women escape abusive relationships. That's good. She deserves a second chance. Cole arrived for our weekly barbecue, bringing his sister, cancer-free for 8 months now. Jackson video called from his new life in Montana, unrecognizable with a beard and glasses, but smiling wider than I'd ever seen. "Got a job at a youth center," he told us. "Teaching kids there's always a way out, no matter how dark things get." As the sun set, I gathered everyone around the fire pit. Luna sat on my lap, Owen asleep in Grace's arms. These moments, ordinary, peaceful, safe, were what I'd fought for. What Ranger had protected. What we'd nearly lost. "I want to tell you something," I said to Luna. "About being afraid." She looked up at me with those serious 8-year-old eyes. "Were you scared when the bad men came?" "Terrified. But you know what I learned? Fear isn't the enemy. Giving up is. You kept fighting. You kept believing we'd save you. That's real courage. Like in my story. Better than any story." I kissed her forehead. "Because it's real. And you're my hero." Grace wiped tears from her cheeks. Cole raised his beer in a quiet toast. Jackson waved from the video screen, and Ranger laid his head on Luna's feet, protective even in peace. Victor Kane would spend the rest of his life in prison. His empire was ashes. Derek, Marcus, and 52 other Southside Skulls members were serving long sentences. The corrupt judge who'd released Victor on bail was under federal investigation. Justice had been served. Not perfectly, it never is, but enough. As the fire crackled and stars appeared overhead, I realized something profound. Victor's revenge had failed not because we were stronger or smarter, but because we had something he never understood, love that refused to break, even under impossible pressure. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who stand beside you when everything falls apart, who risk their lives to save yours, who forgive the unforgivable and rebuild from the ruins. Luna yawned, snuggling closer. "Daddy, will there be more bad people?" "Maybe, but there will always be more good people too. Like Agent Chun, who protected us. Like Jackson, who chose to be better. Like Aunt Isabel, who saved us all. I looked at Grace. Like your mom, who's the strongest person I know. And you and Ranger, Luna added sleepily. Yeah, me and Ranger. As we carried the kids inside and locked the doors, something I still did carefully every night. I thought about the question Victor had asked in that storage unit. Was I a hero or a villain? The answer was simpler than I'd thought. I was a father, a husband, a man who made mistakes but kept fighting to protect the people he loved. That was enough. Grace and I stood in the hallway, watching Luna sleep with her service dog curled beside her bed. Owen's baby monitor showed him peaceful in his crib. Ranger patrolled downstairs one last time before settling at our bedroom door. We made it, Grace whispered. We made it, I echoed. And for the first time in a year, I slept without nightmares. The Yandy, so here's what I want to know, and I really want to hear from you. Have you ever had to protect someone you love against impossible odds? What would you do if your family was threatened? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.